So what we are going to do tonight is, I am sure you are already aware, Islamic Dawah team made a video regarding the holes and messes in Christian scripture. Islamic Dawah team already expressed that there are holes, messes, and unanswered questions which are being pressed by Muslims, and non-Muslims, and traditional account of Islam pretty much messed up. And then it end up that certain groups in Islamic Dawah team decided to clean up the shame which was put forward by Dawah gangs, and we will be kind of just going through what happened. Sadly, because my freedom was taken away from me, therefore I wasn't able to put those videos up on time. We are just trying to catch up. So, and 37 different Arabic Qurans. No, I am not gonna leave you anything when I die. But I'm hoping that there will be someone who tells you that I am dead. You are not even in the list of first communicators list. Okay, let's get on with the business, so we don't want Indonesia to stay up late and people can get on back with the live. So let me just put a clip on. Probably that's gonna ban again for hate speech, but let's see what's happening. So we are gonna listen Adnan Rashid from Speaker's Corner, who is part of Islamic Dawah team, and I don't know if I made the video available or not, that you will see. I identified him as the third best of the deceivers. Expressed that Cairo Musaf, which means the Quranic copy identified as Cairo Musaf, Cairo manuscripts, are from 1st century of Islam. That means from between 620 to 719. And then he pointed people, there are lots of things in that video, I'm gonna deal with them, but he pointed people to that Quran, Cairo Musaf. So what I'm gonna do is, I'll just want to remind you that all, and then we get on what happened since first century Quran of Cairo manuscripts.
Okay, in different libraries. Okay, we even have complete copies. The Husseini Mosque manuscript, which is from the 1st century in Cairo. Okay, Husseini Mosque manuscript is from the 1st century of Islam. It's in Cairo. It is 99% complete. The complete text of the Quran. Only first 2 or 3 pages are missing. Surah Al-Fatiha and maybe one the very early verses of Surah Baqarah are missing. The rest of the Quran is there. Husseini Mosque manuscript. Allahu Akbar. So if someone asks me, what would you write on a blank copy? A blank.
So according to Adnan Rashid, you can see he's very much confident. We love his confidence. Like, sometimes there are people who would look into camera and then they would lie, and like their face is like so amazing, you can't even understand the lie they put together. So there are lots of Quranic manuscripts, and Adnan Rashid identifies Cairo manuscripts as complete, and then says like 99%. That means not complete, but identifies that manuscripts from 1st century of Hijrah, which means from 620 to 719. And also he says beginning is missing, like Fatiha and beginning of Surah 2 is missing. We did a session on that. That's not what I'm going to focus here. we did session on that actually, which folios are missing and what is in them. And also we did a session actually, according to Muslim scholars, Cairo Quran, Cairo manuscripts are dated 8th century even to 9th century. That means it's not in the 1st century of Islam. So that's the kind of gently correction. And then of course there are lots of textual variations in Cairo manuscripts. That's not what I'm gonna focus as well. So Adnan Rashid, I don't know when he said that, but that video is being published on his YouTube channel on 12th of June. Okay, that was just a couple of days before YouTube put me in jail. So that was 12th of June. It's Friday, okay, 2 weeks ago on Friday, 12 days ago. And in that Cairo manuscripts, we still don't have the verses which is eaten by hungry sheep. But in that, so in the 12th of July, he confidently tells people that there is 1st century Quran complete, and 99% is complete from 1st century of Hijrah. At this stage, just 2 minutes before we went to live, I did check his live stream and I didn't see any corrections from his live stream. So what happened was, on the 12th of July, after this has been expressed by his YouTube channel, probably it's been recorded like a day before, or maybe it was live stream, I don't know. So while that has been addressed to Islamic Dawah team, told the whole world that he's got the Quran, complete Quran, 99%, from 1st century of Hijrah, identified that as the Cairo Musaf, Cairo manuscripts. And then after that, miracle takes place. Anyone is ready for the miracle? Miracle takes place after this. Adnan Rashid, on the 15th June, Adnan Rashid asked this nice question to whom? To Dr. Putin, who is kind of expert on the Quranic manuscripts. He asked the question on the 15th June, 3 days after he makes a video and then tells people, yeah, he's got the 1st century of the Quran. And by the way, Dr. Putin thinks like Cairo manuscripts, even it's 8th century or 9th century manuscripts. But he asked this question 3 days after what he says. Do you consider, please actually read with me, do you consider the Husseini mosque manuscripts to be from the 1st century of Islam? Although it is missing tiny fragment during the age damage. That's not the kind of correct reason, but anyway, I'll let that go. So 3 days after he puts his video up, he decides, oh, let me check that. Why should I check that? Because now there are people who know I lied. They will be checking that. So he asked this question to Dr. Putin. What does he say? The question is, do you not consider the Husseini manuscripts from the 1st century of Islam? Answer is, yes, I would definitely not consider that 1st century manuscript. I think that's amazing. So he approached the authority, and then he asks the authority, by the way, of course he doesn't share that part, he says, he thinks, yeah, so I messed up, now I need backup. One of my backup will be Dr. Putin, and let me ask Dr. Putin if the Cairo Musaf is from 1st century. And then what he says no, it's not from 1st century. And then it's not only he just stops there, he goes on, and then he says, it is written in the type of Kufic script, which is most associated with the Abbasid period. That's like around 750 years. It might be early version of that, but mid 2nd century of Hijrah will be the earliest. Mid 2nd century will be the earliest. When is the mid 2nd century of Islam? Late 700s. Late 700s is mid 2nd century of Islam, and according to Dr. Putin, Cairo manuscripts are from earliest. It might be an early version of that, mid 2nd century at very earliest. And maybe even, can you read that? But could be 3rd even, could be 3rd century even. Don't you think that is just a miracle? So 3 days after he publicly tells everyone, this is nothing personal. It is personal to the Muslims because it affects their salvation, because they've been lied. And while there is check Google, while there is check YouTube, Muslims are still being lied, and I take it personal, and then I tell Muslims that they've been lied. Even that they tell, please share the video to everyone. All I am doing is sharing the video. So while the Wire scholars tells us, while scholars not tells us actually, tells Adnan Rashid, actually Adnan Rashid, that's not from the 1st century, earliest half of the 2nd century, late 2nd century, and even the 3rd century. Did anyone come across with Adnan Rashid's apologize video? Anyone saw that Adnan Rashid apologized to the Muslims that he lied to them, or like any other basic knowledge? I can see Daughter of Christ is in the chat. Like before we go to live, okay, one of the things we do is we go through and then we just like check the sources, what might be the comebacks, let's do our homework. What Adnan Rashid does is he decides to do his homework when 3 days after he puts the video up. I wonder have he passed all the classes. It's just a problem, and just a problem. So now I am hoping that Adnan will put a video to apologize to the whole Muslim world that he lied. If he doesn't, that shows like he's like 3rd best person of in the lines of best of the deceivers. Allah will be the 1st, Muhammad will be the 2nd, and Adnan is the 3rd. Adnan is the 3rd. Of course, the miracle gets worse. Actually, I don't think I should be like rejoicing in this. In a sense, I'm upset that I didn't have my freedom to comment on those things when it happened. So I'm just like trying to catch up with what's happening in the life. But it didn't stop there. So Adnan Rashid push, okay? That's what Muhammad Hijab did. When Muhammad Hijab ask Yasir Qadi, oh, can you explain what would you write in the blank paper? Yasir, like, you can see in his body language, he was very, very uncomfortable with the question. But he was still pushed. He was pushed, and then end up he said, there are holes in the Quran. And now he's claiming copyrights for his videos, by the way. There are holes in the Quran. And then he claimed that, yup, there are questions we cannot answer. Our traditional account is all messed. All those like different Qurans, they're all messed. I've got a couple of short videos. I will kind of upload them. Maybe some late tonight and some tomorrow. You will kind of see the breakdown version of it. But so one of the essential things you would do is when you know someone is debunking you publicly, you don't press on. You don't press on. But, of course, Adnan needs to press on because he needs to save the Ummah. He presses on. He asked a very nice question. This is like, he's so polite. Can you see? He's very, very much polite. Please do read with me. He asked the question, I have a question. If you were asked whether the Quran in current form in our hands today, he's talking about 1985 Quran or 1924 Quran, can be traced in its entirety back to the Prophet, parentheses, or his companions, what would your short answer be? What would your short answer will be? I would appreciate your unambiguous answer. Please don't like twist the answer. Don't be kind of polite. Don't give me like funny answer. Please answer the question yes or no so that I will be clear that you can tell me that Quran in entire form today, what he's reading, will go back to Muhammad. Okay, that's what he's asking. Did you all get that question? Let's see answer to that question. Oops, that's the same. Let me go back again. Sorry, there is technical things are happening in here. Here's the answer to the question. Let me change their spot so that you don't get confused. By the way, this is from Twitter. Sadly, I wasn't able to join the conversation because, yeah, our relationship with Twitter is not hot chocolate sense. So, question is, what was the question? Can we trace back to the Quran in its entire form back to the Prophet? And then answer comes, not with certainty. Not with certainty. It's not secret that I think the evidence that it was Uthman who standardized the text is very strong. So the question he was asked, can we chase Quran back to in its entire form to Muhammad? And then Dr. Putin says, nope, that's very clear. And I'm like, so clear, it's for certainty. You cannot do that. And then he talks about, actually, it was the Uthman who standardized Quran. Farther back than him, it is article of the faith. So, as a Muslim, you need to say it goes to the Uthman. That's one of the things you should be saying as a Muslim because it's article of your faith. And remember, this conversation take place 3 days after Adnan Rashid's video has been made public in Adnan Rashid's channel. So he's doing his homework 3 days after what has been shared in public. And then like he's still pushing, like you see, it's so sad actually. Okay then, can we trace it back to Uthman? So what one of the things you do is you ask question. If you don't get the answer, you ask your question in different form. If you don't get your answer, you start playing black and white game, which people are learning in the mosques, until you get the answer which helps you to be satisfied. It is like dangerously dangerous and very, very bad. Okay, let's follow up the conversation, because it didn't stop there. It was so sad it didn't stop there. Okay, I put that one. So while that conversation takes place between Adnan Rashid and Dr. Putin, someone simply steps in and then says, tell him there are no variants in the meanings. Meanings are all the same, nothing to worry about it. It's all the same. And then Dr. Putin says, can't tell him that. That would be a lie. Can't tell him that. That would be a lie. Pretending like all the variants have no distinction is meaning does a massive disservice in the millennium-long exegetical tradition, which is variably obsessed with the different meaning of different readings. Why don't you just tell people, yeah, there are different variations, but it doesn't change anything? And then authority which Adnan Rashid goes simply says, I can't tell that. That would be what? A lie. That would be a lie. But there are textual variations in the Quran. Most that list are region variations of the 4 region Qurans of the Quran, and top of that there are hundreds of variants that doesn't affect Razm. So there are textual variations in the Quran which affects the Razm, which means Arabic alphabet without dots, consonantal letters without dots, but also there are some which doesn't affect that as well. Textual variations after textual variations. But please do tell them it doesn't affect the meaning. Please tell me Cairo Quran goes back to Muhammad. No, it doesn't go back to Muhammad. Please tell me. Please tell me it goes back to, let's read this one. So after Adnan Rashid heard that there are actually Cairo Quran is not from 7th century. He hasn't corrected himself on that. After he heard that there are variations, okay, he goes on and then he says, still like without any shame, this is like all in the social media, still he goes and then says, we do believe it word by word as the 7 Ahruf were revealed by God and were eventually accommodated within the Qur'an. Hence, word by word preservation. This is well attested within our classical scholarship. Something happened on the way. something happened on the way. Now he heard that actually we don't have the 7th century Quran, 1st century of Hijrah of Quran, before 719. He heard that there are variations in the Quran, and then he still says we believe the word by word preservation of the Quran. I see there is lots of like bad problems in here. Here's a great point. So 12th of June, the video goes up where Adnan Rashid says, would you like to tells whole the world that actually we've got the Quran from the 1st century, and then takes it from there, and then 3 days after he decides, okay, let me make my homework because people are gonna keep me accountable for what I said. And what I do from now, let me go to one of the best authority on this, and then check with him. He goes to the authority, and the authority simply shuts him down. And that's not only enough. He hears the arguments. He goes, tells him there are variations with razm and without razm. It affects the meaning. He still keep going on. Yup, we believe word by word preservation of the Quran. I think it's so awesome. It's so awesome. So I am expecting for him as a good Muslim simply to go and make a simple video and then apologize whole the world that he's been lying. So what I'm gonna do is, let me go to comment, and if there are any comments, any questions, please, this is your chance to do so. Scholars from 1st century categorically said that all companions recite one Quran which was revealed by Muhammad, and it is called Qiraat al-Ammah, common recitation. Abbas, are you seeing what you wrote down? So Quran is given to Muhammad in 7 different ways. Uthman discredits all those 7 different ways, and Muhammad's companions recites the Quran differently. Ubay bin Ka'b got beaten because of that. I don't know if I made that video online or not, but I put a video up regarding Ubay bin Ka'b is beaten by Muhammad because he had a doubt in his faith, which he didn't even had before Islam in the time of Jahiliyyah. So that shows Ubay bin Ka'b was reciting different Quran. And today we know his Quran did not contain 114 chapters. Okay? Umar, one of the companion of Muhammad, second caliph of Islam, reciting different Quran from guy called Hisham. So already I gave you 2 names. Ibn Masud. He had different Quran, which he got beaten for it. Okay? And that all comes from your most reliable Islamic sources. I am happy to give you my sources. Can you please be kind enough and then tell us who are those scholars? Is Adnan Rashid one of those scholars? Is Sheikh Yasir Qadi is one of those scholars because they disagree with one another? Is Shabir Ali one of those scholars? Three of those scholars are disagreeing with one another. Which scholars are those, Abbas? Why your scholars are discrediting Muhammad, discrediting Umar, discrediting Ubay bin Ka'b, whom Ubay bin Ka'b is not like someone who just walked out on the street, who is the one you take the Quran from. Even Yasir Qadi praises him and then points people to him. He is not anyone on the street. He is the one appointed for Quran to be taken from. I've got names and I've got sources. What have you got, Abbas? Let me see if I've got response from Abbas. Good. People are asking you give us the name of the scholars, dear Abbas. If Abbas doesn't believe in hadith, that means he's apostate. And I'm not sure if I should share that publicly because we know what happens to the apostates. Abu Abdullah al-Rahman al-Sulami, who died in 73 after Hijrah, that means he died 693, said in Al-Mujahid al-Kabir, reading of the Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman and all the Muhajirin and Ansar was saying, is that the case? If they were all the same, why people in the time of Uthman were calling one another as kafir because of the way they were reciting? If they were all the same, why Umar wanted to grab Hisham joining the while he was reciting Surah 25? If they were all the same, why they broke the hips of Ibn Masud? And that comes from one of your most reliable sources, Abbas. And also, can I get the sources for this? Who tells you this? It seems to me that copy and paste quotation, but I love to get the source. And I love to see how you are gonna handle this source versus your most reliable sources. Waiting for an answer. Apparently, Adnan proved that Quran is from 1st century, but he doesn't have backup. He just practiced deceiving. Yes, I'm waiting for the source from Abbas. And I'm waiting Abbas to just discredit rest of the Islamic sources and pick what he wants to pick. I'm expecting Abbas to simply tell me how there are messed up Islamic tradition out there. It hasn't been over a year, it's been like for longer than that, and still there are no sources. There are no sources, and that is very much sad. That's very much sad. Did I get an answer? As Sweetie says that. Let me put that on the screen. Sorry, I've got Al Sweetie in here. I am just looking at that. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm just gonna make this. Wait a second. Just wait a second. So while there are 37 different Arabic Qurans, while there are 50 different Arabic Qurans in 939, and a Muslim simply tells you, actually, it was all the same. This is how it was read by Muhammad. Which one? Did Muhammad ever saw Hafs Quran? Did Muhammad ever saw Warsh Quran? No. Please, please. Like, it's not only getting bad, you are not even able to develop arguments anymore. You are not even developed any arguments anymore. You cannot even do that. So I've got Daughter of Christ is on the line. Peace of Christ be with you, sister.
Peace of Christ be with you, sister. How are you?
By God's grace, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I know there's another brother who wants to speak to you, so I'll make this short. I've just noticed a lie from our best about the Ansar and the Muhajirin having the same Mus'haf, having the same Quran. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I've just been reading the book called Al-Masahif, and it lists the different Qurans of different companions of the Prophet at the time. For example, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he had the Quran. Abdullah ibn Amr, he had a Quran. Aisha had a Quran. Hafsa had a different Quran. Salama had a Quran. And after them, lots of people called Tabi'een, and they're the people who come after the generation of the Sahaba, of the companions. Even they had different Quran, and it lists all their names. And that's in the book of the Masahif. You see it in the index. If you just look in the index, it tells you all the different Qurans that all the different people had, and it names all these people. And this book is by Abu Bakr Abd al-Sulaiman al-Hanbali. And that's what we do when we quote sources our best. We quote the books and we quote the page number. So how can he say that they all had the same Quran? It lists different Qurans but for each one.
Yeah, and it's not only that. Even in Ibn al-Nadim, we get to hear that actually, like, these different Qurans, over 50 different Qurans, were circulating around. Ibn bin Masud's Quran was circulating around because he says like, oh, I have seen this. Ubay bin Ka'b's Quran was circulating around. That's just sad. Still Muslims believe that one perfect Quran and it all goes back to Muhammad.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daughter of Christ?
Yeah.
Apparently there is echo.
Yeah, sorry for the people who lost their hearing because of the volume. I don't know.
I put this on, and then are you using earphone?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've got my earphones in.
Okay, can we get the confirmation again for the sound of Daughter of Christ again? Sound for Daughter of Christ.
Hello?
Let's do sound check.
Yeah, you didn't have your earphones on.
Don't blame me.
I learned that from you. You said it's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah, it's someone else's fault, but in this occasion, it's Adnan's fault because he didn't do his homework. If he did his homework before he before he presented his homework, before he presented his case, instead of 3 days after he presented his case, that wouldn't happen. Therefore, it's Adnan's fault.
Yeah, I've been watching this drama unfold, and I've been so happy, like just watching the whole thing implode.
Okay. Before that, I need you to, since there was an echo, I need you to just kind of express, as you were reading Ibn Dawood's book regarding the different Arabic Qurans. We'll have to get that again, because of the echo, probably people didn't get that. Can you please repeat your point?
Yeah, this book is called Kitab al-Masahif, the book of the Qurans. The book itself says this is the book of the different Qurans, and it's by somebody called, I'll say his long name, Abu Bakr Abdullah Sulaiman ibn al-Ash'ath al-Sijistani. Sorry, it's a long name. And he lived from 230 to 316 AD. And if you look at the index, that's they put the index at the end of the book, page 940. He mentions all the different Qurans that the companions had. Those are the people at the time of Muhammad. And he mentions their names. Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he's from the family of Muhammad. He had a Mus'haf, he had a Quran. Abdullah ibn Amr, he had a Quran. Even the wives of Muhammad, each one of them had a different Quran. Aisha had a Mus'haf, a Quran. Hafsa had a different Quran. Salama had a different Quran. And in the generation after the Prophet, after Muhammad, even the Tabi'een, the people who followed them, they each had a different Quran. And it lists, I'm counting at least here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got here 16 or 17 different Qurans. That's just from the first generation and the second generation. So how can Abbas say that all the companions in the Medina, the Ansar and the Muhajirin all had one Quran? That is a lie from the pits of hell. I just don't know how people lie without any shame, like saying the opposite of the truth.
So let me just also add on that we do have writings which is talking about approximate 300 years after Muhammad, 939. There are 50 different Arabic Qurans are circulating around, and then even we've got sources which is talking about there are 900 different Arabic Qurans are circulating around. And it's not only that, even just go back to time of Uthman, when Uthman put together one Quran, actually so that we have that one Quran as with the razams, with the different razams in 4 different forms. Even like, yes, it is so called like one Quran, but it has different razams, and that does change the meaning. I just read Dr. Putin's explanation on that. I think it is still shame that Muslims are claiming that. I hope Abbas, as you make that claim, you went and checked the mirror to see how your face looks like when you intentionally lied.
Abbas is saying that I'm quoting an unknown writer. Just because a writer is unknown to you, Abbas, doesn't mean he's unknown. He's unknown to you. And I don't want to get personal, but you've previously shown a horrible lack of knowledge when it comes to Muslim scholars. You don't even know the full works of Bukhari, and I had to teach you that the other day. So it's unknown to you, Abbas. Unknown to you doesn't mean it's unknown. And can you go tell your brothers then? Can you go tell Yasir Qadi the narrative that has no holes in it then? Can you go tell Adnan Rashid, who's walking around asking scholars to confirm his knowledge? They're unknown to you because imams have been hiding this stuff. And that's what Yasir Qadi told us. The narrative has been hidden because it's embarrassing. So no wonder it's unknown.
I was thinking, like now there is a huge hole in the traditional account of the preservation of the Quran, all those kind of things. And then from that, I'm just thinking, one of the way that hole can be fixed is, if you think is a Swiss cheese, it has lots of holes in it. You can like get approximately 50 different rats and then ask those rats to kind of put those rats with this cheese, and then they will cover all those holes. How? By putting it in their stomach and get rid of all of it. So it is huge mess, dear Muslims. And 3 days after putting video up and hunting to do your homework and seeking for justification clearly didn't help. Not good at all. Not good at all.
I think Muslims are just in damage control. And unfortunately, the more they try to damage control, the more people go out and do more research, and the more holes we find. So this is a losing game completely. I know there's a brother who wants to call in, sister. His name is Christ is Lord. Brother, if you're still up, sorry, I'm taking the time. You can call. But this is very exciting, sister. This is exciting time.
If anyone wants to call in, you are very welcome to call in on the topic what we are discussing. So we are looking at the date of the Cairo manuscripts, which was given by Adnan Rashid. That's what we are discussing. If you are calling about that, that's please do so. But if that's not the case, we can talk about other things on another time.
Okay, so God bless you.
Okay, see you, sister.
See you.
I am very much heartbroken that even hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Who is calling?
My YouTube name is I have two YouTube names. Is Christ is the Lord and Rory Husky.
Hello, sir. Are you Christian?
Yeah.
Peace of Christ be with you, sir. So we are talking about
peace of the Lord Jesus.
We are talking about
the Quran.
Yes, we are talking about the Quran from the first century of Hijrah, Cairo manuscripts, which is identified by Dawa gangs as the first century of Islam. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a huge disaster for Muslims because of the fact they're having damage control and we're going beyond the red line.
So why do they need damage control?
Because of the fact that they've been saying for centuries that the Quran is exactly the same. You know that.
So problem is Quran is exactly the same from time of Muhammad. It is dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound. And
yeah.
Also, you just saw Adnan Rashid's tweet dated on 15th of June. Still, he says like, word by word, it is preserved. Even though he just heard from he just heard from a scholar who tells him it is not. He still is making that case. He's still making that case. I think it's like disturbing, this sad. But
I think we need to protect Yasser Qadi because he might get in trouble from Muslims.
Why should I protect him?
No, not you, but the other, not you. I'm talking because Yasser Qadi exposed the fact that the Quran has holes in it, right? And you know what happens when, and he's becoming an apostate, and you know what happens under Islam when he becomes an apostate.
I think I would look from the different perspective. I used to, I don't know if I made that video online or not. I used to follow all of his works, and I used to kind of enjoy his writing skills and his knowledge. But at this stage, because I heard what he did to Brother David Wood, it is not acceptable. I was feeling sorry for him because I thought, oh, he's gonna get backlash by Muslims, but he couldn't even stand his ground, and he just fall into the traps of, no, we can fix those holes, and then he apparently just messed up. Therefore, I don't think I'm gonna stand for him when it comes to the backlash by Muslims.
before I go, I'm going to go in a minute. I would say download David Wood's video and put it on every single Christian channel. That's what I'm doing now. I'm going to do that now. So that David Wood's
Which video are you talking about?
The Yasser Qadhi video on.
Yasser Qadhi.
Yeah, I suggest to every Christian watching in the audience, download David Wood's video so that his video doesn't get taken down. We need to spread the word, and may the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with all of you. By the way, my name is Christ is the Lord, not Christ is Lord.
Okay, is that how I pronounced?
No, the Lord, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you very much for calling, brother. God bless you. Okay, I apologize if that was failed from my pronunciation. Okay, let me go to the chat and then see what's happening in the chat. So remember, for centuries and centuries and centuries, Muslims, that includes Abbas from the chat, that includes Adnan from the Dawa gangs, Muslims have been told lies that Quran has been perfectly preserved. Okay? And still in 21st century claims dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound. Of course, that's not enough. They lie to their children, they lie to their wives, they lie to their congregation. And 12th June, Islamic Dawah thinks, yeah, the whole which has been expressed by one of our most respectful sheikh regarding the Islam, regarding the Quran, the mess Islam has, the holes Islam has, all these things can be fixed. And then Adnan Rashid becomes voluntary to do so by messing up. So let's finish in here and let me summarize once again what's happening. 12th of June, video goes up without done any homework. I've got to go. Actually, I've got hundreds of slides regarding those Qurans from the first century. It's all lies. I will put that up as well. I just don't know how to make that video because it's going to take very long time. But so one of the things we learn is, before you make the claim, you do your homework. Therefore, you read, you search, you kind of, okay, what might be the comeback? Let me get rebuttal for that. Or is that argument works, doesn't work? Adnan Rashid failed to do that on before 12th of June. And then he publicly told everyone that there is Quran from the first century of Islam. On the 15th June, he goes one of the well-known and respected scholar when it comes to the Quranic manuscripts. He asks his opinion, and then scholar says, Dr. Putin says, no, Husseini Musaf is not from first century of Hijrah. And then he says it might be mid-2nd century or even 3rd century. That means late 7th century and 8th century. Okay? And then Dr. Putin expresses that there are the variations in the Quran. That's not enough. It looks like Adnan was reading them. It looks like Adnan was reading them. Please hold a minute. It looks like Adnan was reading them without opening his eyes and using his brains. Therefore, it end up still he simply says, yup, word by word, letter by letter, we believe it is being preserved. Let's just take this call. Hello, sir.
Hello, my sister.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Malim Chaka Ibn Musa. I'm a born again student of apologetics.
How can I help you, sir?
Just wanted to give a contribution and ask a question in regard to the debate on the early manuscripts of the Quran.
Yeah.
Um, I know you've made a collection of these different Arabic Qurans. My question is there any Muslim scholar that has probably translated some of these Qurans into English, just like we have the Avs of Yusuf Ali and
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
uh,
So I don't know if you are able to see YouTube. I can hear echo. Is there a way for you to fix that echo?
I switched off my
Okay.
YouTube
So
because of the call.
I'm showing the book on you on the channel now. Okay. This
Okay.
is the book put together by Muslims, titled Bridges Translation of the 10 Qiraat of the Noble Quran.
Mm-hmm.
So they go through approximately 30 different Arabic Qurans, and then they give us like just under 30% of their funding regarding the variations and
Mm-hmm.
their meaning when you translate that to English. I'll make sure that I don't forget, and then I can put the PDF link of this book in the chat, or Amazon link to Amazon of this book, Amazon link to in the chat, in the description, sorry.
Yeah. That'd be helpful. And
And
so
your second point?
yes, but so as far as the whole Quran, I mean the whole Masaf being translated, say the Dudi or whichever, apart from the Afsa, I'm interested in getting a translation of the Quran in English that is not the Afs Quran.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can help you in that area. All I can propose you is this book, which contains a couple of different versions of it, but
Okay.
I did not come across uh, Duri version of Duri's translation to the English, because I bought those Qurans like in Nigeria, or I bought those Qurans in Yemen, or in um, Dubai, or even in Morocco. So I bought them like in Muslim countries where
Mm.
they don't, like, there is no need for them to be translated to English. I am not aware there is a English, just English translation by itself for the Warsh
Mhm.
or for Duri or for Ibn Kathir. Sorry, I can't help you on that one.
Yeah, but thank you. You see, I'm wondering why Muslims, why are they afraid of making these translations? Why have they published the Afsa Quran so that it looks to the common Muslim that there's only one translation, I mean, one Arabic Quran. That is the analogy that they have sold for so long. Until I began to interact with your works with Jay Smith, I never knew anything about 1924 Cairo edition and all that. So thank you so much for opening our eyes. Many of us have always taken the version of Hafs as the standard Quran until really we got now that it is then that they are coming out, to even talk about these things that they want to be spoken in private. So I'm wondering, why do they want to speak it in private, whereas they want to interact with biblical manuscripts and all that and talk about the Bible openly? Is that not hypocrisy?
When you want to speak things behind the doors, that means you are trying to hide things. It's very important that we are
Mhm.
transparent. I can just give me a second. I can go to bookshop and then buy the critical edition of the um, New Testament,
Mhm.
uh, and it's available to me. My scholars are talking about it even in the translations of the Bible as a footnote. But when there is, of course, it's always tricky when someone says let's talk behind the doors or let's hide this information. That means that needs our attention when it comes to what is the intention.
Yeah.
But in a sense it's good because now we do have check Google, check YouTube, that people can check those informations out.
Thank you, my sister, and thank you for the great work you continue to do. We are learning a lot from you guys.
That means you are learning a lot from God. If Lord is using me, that all praise goes to
Amen.
Him.
Amen.
I'm just privileged that if He chooses to use me, that's just privilege for me.
Amen. Amen. God bless you.
God bless you, brother. Thank you. Okay. Okay, let me turn to chat again. Yes, there is a translation of the there is a translation of the Topkapı Musaf by Tayyar Altıkulaç and Ekremettin İhsanoğlu. You can get that in English, in Arabic, and also in Turkish. Actually, I don't know if you can get that now, because when I bought it, it was like very difficult to buy it. They published only limited amount, and it was already gone by the time I tried to get hold on to that. I think we will finish the evening from now. So it is, as always, it is privilege to have you joining us, especially soon after we got our freedom back. Tomorrow evening we will have yes, Islam critic is I think that's for the Topkapı Musaf, PDF of Topkapı Musaf. Sorry, I didn't offer that, but yes, I do have the PDF version of Topkapı as well. I am more physical copy person. I did forget that. Yeah, we can pass that around. And thank you, Islam critic, for willing to pass that around. Tomorrow evening we have Dr. Tony Costa speaking on something which was scheduled. It was scheduled for last week, so we are just trying to catch up the things took place last week, and hopefully from that we will able to kind of get back to regular things, and then we will able to catch up. So we have to catch up with the videos, and then make them public, and then use our freedom again. Freedom is good thing, and we do acknowledge true freedom only comes through Lord Jesus Christ. He gives us freedom, He gives us peace, and above all, He gave Himself for us. Thank you everyone for joining us for another live stream, and thank you very much to our admins for amazing work you are doing and keeping people in order. Until we see you, may our risen Lord silence you with His love, and if you are not our brothers in Christ yet, we pray that He will bring to your knees, so that you will see and experience the full grace and love and freedom Lord Jesus Christ offers to us all. God bless you all.